Hello again, everyone. Hello. I'm Susan Burns, and I'm the editor of Biz 941. Welcome to the Unity Awards. We are honored today to celebrate the people and companies who are building bridges to the diverse racial and ethnic mix of people in our community. This is our second annual Unity Awards, and because of all of you out there who find the issue of diversity important, this is a sold-out event, and I can't tell you how encouraging and gratifying this is, so thank you, all of you. It's also been our great pleasure, since this is our second annual Unity Awards, to partner again with Luis Barón, who is the CEO of TVNet Media Group and the publisher of La Guía. This is a partnership that's really developed into a wonderful friendship for us, and it has opened up doors for new opportunities and markets for both of our companies. And as I think about this partnership, I really feel like it signifies a lot of what we're here for today. And we know that we're living in a global multicultural society now. And think about it, the minority populations in this country today will be the majority in the first half of this century. And to not recognize that reality means that we will miss so many opportunities and not be able to adapt to the challenges. I think that the people that we're honoring here today have not only embraced those changing demographics, but probably more importantly, for all of these people, I think that it has been their life's work and passion to embrace all of humanity.
Buenas tardes. Hello everyone, my name is Luis Barón from La Guía magazine, and we are also proud to bring this Unity Awards 2012. Susan and I have been inspired by our winners' stories, lives, and dedication to inclusion. I know many of our winners personally. I know your work have dedication, have benefit our community and contribute to the economy and quality of life. When we look around this room today, we are gratified and enriched by the diversity of people sitting in front of us. You represent different countries, backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures. You are building bridges between communities. You help make our community and our nation stronger, richer, and better. And we thank you all for being here because today we are celebrating diversity and unity. Thank you so much.
We'd also like to thank our sponsors, and we can't tell you how important it is to have in every community companies and organizations that really put diversity as a core mission and value and are leading the way. So thank you, a big thank you to our presenting sponsor, Fifth Third Bank, and to our generous award sponsors, the Community Foundation of Sarasota, ABC7, and the Zenith. And Luis and I would also like to thank our judges, all of whom were last year's winners. And would you just stand and wave James McLeod, Esperanza Gamboa, and Charles Clapsaddle, who's, as usual, working behind the camera. Thank you for being judges this year. We could not have done this without you. And I think CJ Zaya and Kevin Gallagher are here today as well. And if you would like to stand, because you were a Unity Award winner last year as well and are doing the same important work for us in this community. And finally, we're also proud today to be hosting a table from Girls Inc. in Sarasota, and this particular table of girls is studying a media literacy program so that they can become more aware of the power of media and understand how to create positive, realistic images of women and girls. So welcome. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Dennis Wayne Archer. Dennis is a resident of Sarasota County, a part-time resident, although with his busy schedule, I think he's probably more at home on airplanes than he is at his real home. I'd like to let me just give you a few highlights of his career. He is the chairman and CEO of Dennis W. Archer, PLLC, and chairman emeritus of Dickinson Wright, a Detroit-based law firm with more than 270 attorneys in multiple states, Washington, D.C., and Canada. He's served 2 4-year terms as mayor of the city of Detroit and earned national and international respect for his success in changing Detroit's image and direction. In 2000, Mayor Archer was named Public Official of the Year by Governing Magazine. He served on the Board of Trustees of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and was president of the National League of Cities from 2000 to 2001. He received an Award of Excellence and was named 1998 Newsmaker of the Year by Engineering News Record magazine, a sister publication of Business Week. He has been named one of the 100 most influential Black Americans by Ebony magazine and one of the 100 most powerful attorneys in the United States by the National Law Journal. He was also named one of the most dynamic mayors in America by Newsweek magazine. Mr. Archer began his career as a teacher, instructing learning disabled students in the Detroit public schools. And after he earned his law degree at the Detroit College of Law, he worked as a trial lawyer and a partner at several Detroit law firms, at the same time teaching at law schools. In 1985, he was appointed Associate Justice of the Michigan Supreme Court and elected to an 8-year term the following year. And in his final year on the bench, he was named the most respected judge in Michigan by Michigan Lawyers Weekly. He's long been active in the organized bar. He was the first person of color elected president of the American Bar Association in 2003 and 2004, as well as the State Bar of Michigan. He is married to Trudy Duncombe Archer, a retired judge of Michigan's 36th District Court, who's here with us as well. They have 2 sons and 2 grandsons. Please help me welcome Dennis Archer.
Susan, thank you very much for that great introduction. And I'd like to begin by thanking my wife, Trudy, for being here. Trudy and I have been married for 44 years. It'll be 45 on June 17th. I've been well trained. I'm president of my Honeydew Club, and I'd like to thank both publications for bringing together such a tremendous group of people who, through your presence, you obviously care a great deal about your community, Sarasota and Manatee counties. And you've got a lot to be proud of. I'd also personally like to thank the sponsors who have made this happen. It's my understanding that last year there were about 150 outstanding men and women, and today you represent 355 people who care deeply about this community. I feel right at home because your principal sponsors, Fifth Third Bank, is very prominent in the city of Detroit. In fact, I serve on the board of directors of the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce, which is the largest metropolitan chamber in the United States, with the president and CEO of Fifth Third Bank in Detroit. And ABC TV7 is WXYZ ABC in the city of Detroit. And several years ago, I had a chance to meet your leader of the Community Foundation, as I also am a former member, as is Trudy, of the Community Foundation, the Southeastern Michigan Community Foundation. And the Zenith is something new to me, and so I'm glad that everybody that I've just mentioned are sponsors. And you could not, having read about them, chosen more outstanding and deserving 6 Unity awardees, 1 in each of the 6 categories. Each of you have worked very hard and have earned this, and I can't wait to see the videos about you, and congratulations. I met in advance of today with 3 remarkable women of biz 941, the Sarasota Manatee Business Publications, Kelly Lavin, Susan Burns, and Molly Turner. They provided me with some information that I requested, as I will share with you in a moment. And as I was doing my own due diligence and asking questions, I found that Kelly and I have a past cross professional reference because we both provided, I think, outstanding consultation to Walmart. And it was interesting in our conversation to find out exactly what each of us were doing that made all of that possible. And then, as I also found out that Susan, I didn't know I was going to get a chance to meet your outstanding husband, Larry Eager, the public defender of the 12th Judicial Circuit. How you like that? That's something awful new to me because in Michigan and other places, the public defender does not have to run for office. And I found that he's been very successful at that. But I also, the point of Larry mentioning you is congratulations for receiving the Outstanding Justice Award from the Palmetto Youth Center's 19th Annual Dr. Martin Luther King's Humanitarian Award at the banquet last Friday. Thank you. Congratulations. Several years ago, I was asked to speak in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I was speaking to the joint meeting of their economic club, their Rotary Club, and their bar association, because Grand Rapids, their regional population in excess of about 750,000, they wanted to attract new businesses to come to their community. And the reason they asked me to come was to speak about diversity, because they recognized that in order to be able to attract large businesses and businesses that were competing globally around the world, they needed to have a different persona and a different culture. And their public culture had not necessarily been one that ostensibly embraced diversity. And they wanted to change that, and so I went up and I spoke. And I will tell you, Grand Rapids, not because of me, but because of the people and the decisions that they made wanting to reach out to make a difference, to attract new, meaningful, outstanding jobs to Grand Rapids, they did it and are doing it, and they've made a remarkable difference in their community. Let's understand who we are in Sarasota and Manatee County. In Sarasota, you have 379,448 people according to the 2010 census, an increase of 16.4%. Women represent 53.2%. Women-owned businesses represented 26.2%. People with high school graduate diplomas represent 89.9%, and those with college degrees represent 28.9%. Whites represent about 84.9%. African Americans 4.7%, Asians 1.3%, Hispanics 7.9%. In Manatee, 322,833, women 51.6%, women-owned firms 27.9%, high school grads 86.5%, college degrees 25.9%, blacks represent 8.7%, Asians 1.6%, and Hispanics 14.9%. You take a look at the top employers in Sarasota. Publix, 1,474. Venice Regional Medical Center, 1,400. And you go down to, I stopped at 9, the Ritz-Carlton Sarasota, 444. The public employees, the School Board of Sarasota County, 4,239. Sarasota Memorial Health Care System, 2,996. Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, 932, and the City of Sarasota, 596. Manatee, the largest private employer, Beals at 1,671. Manatee Memorial Hospital, 1,400. Public, 839. Then you look at the public employers. Manatee County School District, 5,300. Manatee Government, 1,644. The County Sheriff, 1,034. The State College of Florida of Manatee and Sarasota, Florida, 485, and the City of Bradenton, 471. Now let's talk about the past for just a minute. Juanita Cook, I believe that you would agree with me that Brown versus the Board of Education, decided by a unanimous United States Supreme Court in May of 1954, made a huge difference in public education. And we owe a great debt, all of us owe a great debt to the lawyers who represented the various school districts in that lawsuit. Attorney John Lakin, you know the following year, the lawyers representing Rosa Parks and others connected to the Montgomery bus boycott opened the door to the public accommodations as a result of the United States Supreme Court finding that discriminatory laws regarding where colored people must sit on the bus and must get up if it was crowded and a white person stood next to where they were sitting. And they found that to be discriminatory and struck it down. Upholding the legacy of Brown versus the Board of Education means celebrating diversity for the benefit it brings to our lives and to society. Full participation of all racial, ethnic, disabled, and those with a different sexual orientation is a compelling state interest and very important to who we are and what this community means. I happened to read on education an article that was written by Lee Bollinger, who is the president of Columbia University. It was in the Washington Post, where he also serves as a director. And he observed in his first paragraph, there have been few moments in our history when the nation so badly needed institutions to unify the country, overcome divisiveness, and dispel the unfounded jealousies and prejudices that our first president warned against, as George Washington wrote to Alexander Hamilton, bringing together youth from different parts of the United States at a university would allow young people to learn there was no basis for jealousies and prejudices which one part of the Union had imbibed against the other part. That becomes very relevant, and you are very fortunate to have some great institutions of higher learning. In fact, I think I met the president tonight, or this afternoon, of the foundation of one of your great higher learning institutions. Where are we today in the world with our corporations? Years ago, you could look at a corporation and its leadership, and you would not find women, and you would not find people of color in any kind of real leadership positions. A lot changed, and for good reasons, which I will share with you in just a moment. But if you take a look today at who the two top companies are, depending upon what survey is taken, who takes it. One survey was conducted by the and let me get the correct name, the Hispanic Association on Corporate Responsibility. They found that AT&T was number one, and I was looking at another survey that found the same finding, that is to say, it was done by Diversity Business, and they looked at their top 50 corporations, and they found that AT&T was number one, and Walmart, interestingly enough, was number two. Well, why did the Hispanic survey come with AT&T? The president of the National Council of La Raza wrote, In the survey for 2011, AT&T tied first place and received 95 out of possible 100, the highest score awarded by the Hispanic Association on Corporate Responsibility. The report notes that nearly half of AT&T's workforce is female or a person of color, with one of the highest percentage of Latinos, 12% of any company, and it maintains and supports strong employee affinity groups resulting in people of color, workers with disabilities, and LGBT employees. AT&T also has one of the strongest global supplier diversity programs among the Fortune 500 and made notable investments in recent years in Latino-owned businesses, in the Hispanic consumer market, and in Hispanic philanthropy. You say, well, why would that be of interest? Why is that something that might be so compelling? Let me ask, by a show of hands, how many of you know what the $1 Billion Roundtable is? I'm going to hold them up high. The $1 Billion Roundtable, there are 18 members. The $1 Billion Roundtable are those companies that spend at least $1 billion a year with women and minority-owned firms. There are 18. Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, Toyota are the automotives. And I think I serve on the board of directors of Johnson Controls. We're a tier 1 automobile supplier. We're there, AT&T, Walmart, etc. Well, why do you think that occurred? Well, let me share this with you. In 1982 and 1983, the social scientists and the demographers started writing about this phenomena called the browning of America. They predicted back in 82, 83 that two things would happen by 2056. First, that the largest single ethnic minority group would be Hispanics, and number two, that the majority of people living in the United States by 2056 would be people of color. The one person who took that very seriously was Reverend Dr. Leon Sullivan, who was on the board of directors of General Motors at the time. He asked General Motors to put their economists on it and find out whether or not these demographers and social scientists, who was basing this, by the way, on the relaxation of immigration rules and birth rate, whether or not this had a potential to come true. Because if it was, General Motors was going about it the wrong way. Why do I say that? Because the only advertising that they were doing directly to people of color, and in particular African Americans, for example, was in Ebony, Jet, and Black Enterprise. Nothing going across the board to anybody. It was, that's where we'll put our money. The report that the board of directors got back was, you know what? The social scientists and the demographers are correct. The board decided in their wisdom, with this emerging population with discretionary dollars to spend, we want to be able to earn brand loyalty. We want people to come and to buy our cars, and to earn it, we just can't advertise in Ebony, Jet, and Black Enterprise. We've got to show something. So they started, and they set aside, 82, 83, they set aside $5–10 million to start doing business with minority firms, which they expanded to women as well. Well, you say, well, what occurred with their prediction, the social scientists and the demographers? In 2003, the Census Department said that the Hispanic population was now the single largest ethnic minority group in the United States at 13.2%. African Americans at that time was 12.6, 12.7%. The following year, in 2004, the Census Department said the Hispanic and Asian population would triple in size by 2050, and that by 2050, the non-white Hispanic population would be 50.1%. If that was the case, and it proved the predictions, at least their expectations, proved what the demographers and social scientists said. In 2008, the Census Department then said by 2042, and perhaps as early as 2035, the majority of the population of the people living in the United States would be people of color. Last year, the Census Department made another astounding prediction. They said by the year 2015 or 2019, between 15 and 19, young people the ages of 18 or younger would be the majority of the people living in the United States. That is to say, their age group. What I'm suggesting is the demographics are changing. And it's not just the impact of what we are talking about here in the United States, but if we had an empty table over here and was set up, and I don't know how you'd find a room, but if you set up an empty table and you had somebody from China, somebody from India, from the continent of Africa, Japan, Indonesia, Philippines, etc., and you ask a demographer, Molly, to come in here to talk to or to count the people of color, does anybody disagree that people sitting over at that table, if they're from Mexico, etc., they would be counted as people of color? Well, if you agree with that, in the United States, we've got just over 300 million people. Over 30% of us today are people of color. That's over 300 million people in the United States. China has got 1.3 billion. India's over 1 billion. Then you start adding up the continent of Africa and every place else. We say, well, what's the point he's trying to make? The point is simply this, folks. The world that we live in today is already majority of people of color. In order for the United States to stay strong and to grow, we need to understand how to work together. That's the reason why this lunch is so important. That's why it's double, because you recognize the importance of diversity and inclusion. I mentioned a lot about women. Let me tell you why. 2008, before the economy went to heck in the handbasket, women-owned businesses employed more people than the Fortune 500 companies combined. Women-owned businesses accounted for $1.9 trillion in sales. And Dan Denton and Judge Charles Williams, two very bright, astute, great businessmen, outstanding jurists, they might go home and say, honey, I want this beautiful red car. If their spouse said, baby, I think you'd look better in a black car, they're going to be some proud guys driving their new black car. Why? Because women make between 82 and 85% of all consumer purchases. Remember the statistics that I read earlier? The majority of people living in these two counties are women. 25 to 26% of the businesses in these two counties started by women and owned by women. There is a lot that you can and we can do to make the world a lot better. Diversity and inclusion is very important across the board. There are some today would argue that we don't need it anymore because, after all, we have a United States president, Mr. President Barack Obama, who happens to be a person of color. We don't need that anymore. That's not true, folks. I'm sorry to tell you that. The reality of it is that this lunch, this unity lunch, and the things that attract Trudy and I to Sarasota and Manatee and this area is that there's a lot that we can do by working together. And it comes from all across the board. It first started out, the focus back in the day was on African Americans and Hispanics, and now it's broader to disabled and all of us, irrespective of our sexual orientation. It is so important that we come together. I would hope that you might give some consideration to do something a little bit different today that you might not ordinarily do. And here's what I mean. Have you ever gotten on an elevator, either to go to work or wherever you've been, and you walk on an elevator, and as soon as you get on, and there's other people there, ding, 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 all you hear are the floors. Nobody ever speaks to one another. Think about that. Personally, I like to break faces. Good morning, how are you? How's everything? Oh, did you watch the football game? I engage people. Here's what I mean by an example of what I think you have the capacity to do for your two great counties in this community. Understand who each of you happen to be. Don't just sit there and enjoy the wonderfulness of these outstanding awardees and what they bring to the table. How many of you have met, for example, Juanita Cook? She's here. If you were to find out and talk to Juanita Cook or find out others who know her, she is a former school teacher and principal and all of that, but when she was teaching, she taught a young man who today is in top leadership and a direct report to his CEO at Bank of America. His name is Keith Cockrell. Outstanding, who credits her with motivating him to be better than he might have been able to do himself. Have you met Ed Swan? Well, let me see. I think we have a number of nonprofits here. I think we have a number of people who invest money and who are concerned about auditing their books and knowing what things are about. All I'm saying is if you decide to meet the people who are in this room, people that I know exceedingly well and don't have time to go around table by table to do so, what you would find collectively, and Christine Jennings will probably be taking a lot of notes, is that there are a lot of outstanding people who live in this area, people who are at these tables who can contribute so much to the viability of Sarasota and the viability of Manatee County. So if you start thinking about how you might be able to tap this untapped resource, you would probably have the starting and the making of something that would be rather unique and different. Diversity and inclusion is needed. To the two magazines, thank you very much for making this happen. You bringing all these people together with the same motivation, appreciate that. And to the Unity Award honorees, you are so exceptional and so worthy of the recognition that you're going to receive. My final question to you is, what are each of you personally willing to do to enhance diversity and inclusion, and what are you willing to do before you leave to reach out the table that you're with or the table next to you to find out who they are and how they collectively can make Sarasota and Manatee County even more outstanding. Thank you.
We are going to introduce each winner and then let them tell you in their own words why they do what they do.
Our first award goes to Adams and Reese in the category of large company. Adams and Reese was recognized for their extensive diversity program and the fact that they made it part of their strategic plan, which made every employee accountable for reaching the goals, and they provided the time and the money for their employees to do that. So let's watch Kim Madison, one of the attorneys, talk about the firm's diversity program.
Adams and Reese is honored to be a recipient of the Unity Award today. We thank Biz 941 and La Guia for this awesome opportunity. Embracing principles of diversity has been hugely important to Adams and Reese because it has allowed us to create a better working environment for everyone. Our objective at Adams and Reese is to foster an atmosphere of inclusion, of mutual respect, and mutual understanding for everyone with whom we work and live. The firm's commitment to diversity has also had a profound impact on the clients that we serve and has allowed us to better serve the needs of our clients in the context of a growing global marketplace. I firmly believe that this attitude of inclusion has positively contributed to the morale of our employees and is equally apparent to the clients that we serve and in the communities that we live. So on behalf of Adams and Reese, its partners, its attorneys and staff members, we humbly accept this Unity Award, and it is with great excitement that we accept the challenges of the future as we continue to promote diversity in the workplace and excellence in our communities. Thank you. Hi, on behalf of my colleagues at Adams and Reese, we once again want to thank Biz 941 and La Guia for this opportunity, and thanks once again for the honor.
Our next award goes to Chepote Insurance in the category of a small company. Here is Manuel Chepote and his fan club to tell us why he gives back so many people, to so many people in need in this community. Chepote Insurance is not just an insurance company. It's also an information center for many people in this city. Thank you, Manuel.
When I came to America, the same way, I was treated with a lot of respect, and people used to help me, guide me through the process of becoming acquainted with the culture and the ways of America. And I see myself in these people that I help. Sometimes they need to be translated something, they need to see a doctor, they need to go to court, they need to do so many things that are unfamiliar to them, and I try to help them to solve the issues that come up from. For me, it might be very simple, but for them, amounts to a mountain to climb. And that's the reason I help others pay forward what I have received along the way, my 30-plus years I lived in America. I want to take this opportunity to first thank God to guide me through all this journey in America when I came 30 years ago. My parents, my family, and friends to support me, to La Guia and Biz 941, and all these people that has participated in this program, to honor so many people in our community last year and the year before. I want to thank as well the Link family that with so much giving received me when I arrived in Akron, Canton, the first time in America. They've overwhelmed me with their generosity. At the same time, I want to thank a friend of mine that is here, Tom Parsons, that opened wide the opportunity to work for Allstate. It has been over 25 years doing that. At the same time, I think I have a work and a mission in this world. My work as an insurance agent, helping people to resolve the issues related to insurance. And the mission, we have right now in this country 20 million people that live in the shadow. And these people are no criminals, are no terrorists, give more benefits to our country than they receive, pay taxes, create jobs, work in jobs that Americans do not want, keep inflation low, replace workers that retire and die, harvest our fruits and vegetables, work in our meat and poultry industries, work in our thoroughbred and hospitality industries, build our homes, offices, and roads, have been lured by millions of U.S. businesses that employ them with low wages. Best allies in the fight against terrorism, more faith in the opportunities of this country than the Americas, strong family bonds, belief in education to move forward, rejuvenate the population of this country, enrich this country with a new language, Spanish, as large majority of them are Spanish. Learn English when given the opportunity. Natural bridge with 27 Latin American countries, with 579 million consumers. U.S. sells 3 more times to Latin America than China, with a market of $6.4 trillion. Hispanic sole presence in this country promotes tolerance and diversity. 25% of the casualties in Vietnam were Hispanics. Willing to die for this country, Iraq, Afghanistan, 44 medals of honor. In general, they make the U.S. a better country. When the real opportunity is given, they will be documented. Passing of the DREAM Act, issuing IDs, working visas or permits, and driver's license for the undocumented should be the main topic of our conversation with our representatives in Tallahassee and Washington. It is un-American to treat this group of people like outcasts, untouchables of our society. They are invisible to many politicians who acknowledge their existence for political gains only, not to end the predicament of the 20 million of undocumented that live among us. Give me your poor, give me your hungry. May God bless America.
Told you we had great winners. Our next award goes to Luz Corcuera in the education category. And Luz was selected, she's won many awards, I think. She's so special, came from Peru, a psychologist, if my memory serves me, and has been working as the program director at Healthy Start in Manatee. And what she does is so important. She gives young women and their infants and young children a wonderful start because, as she said to us, when you change the lives of women and young children, you really change a culture and a community. Let's hear what Luz has to say.
There is a basic principle. We have been created equal, and we are all entitled to a life of dignity. I support the immigrant community because, as an immigrant myself, I know how difficult it is to adjust to a new life, to a new language, to a new culture. The beauty is that we can discover the other in each other and that we can embrace our similarities and our differences and learn from each other. This community is very diverse, and we are very lucky to have so many people who love the community, who love this country as much as we all do. It is important for us to embrace our brothers and sisters who are having a hard time to find a life of dignity. Y para todos mis amigos que hablan español, tengamos fe, juntos podemos hacer este cambio.
Hello, everyone. It is a beautiful day, and just the energy in the room reflects this event, unity. It is so important that we come together to unite our hearts, our minds, and passions to go beyond borders, flags, race, and religion. I want to share this award with several people in the room. The first one is my husband, Luis, of 32 years. Luis always believed education to be the key out of poverty and oppression. We made education a priority in our own family. 26 years ago, when we left Peru, our native land, Luis worked sometimes 2 or 3 jobs so that our 2 daughters and myself could continue our education. I also want to dedicate this to my team of Healthy Star Manatee. Where are you guys? Raise your hands. Thank you. I have an incredible boss who allows me to do what's right and what's needed. We have an incredible board of directors and volunteers who give their hard work to educate and empower thousands of women to have healthy babies and healthy families. I also want to thank my friends who are probably very tired of me getting emails and requests and begging for staff for people. They are on table 16. Raise your hands. We could not accomplish anything in isolation. I am blessed to be surrounded by a loving family, caring friends, and wonderful community partners. I see so many people in the room that should be getting this award: Kathy Sherston, Vicente Medina, and I don't want to remiss and miss out on someone, but you all deserve this award. It is an honor and a privilege for me to work with moms and babies. What a gift to do what I love and get paid to do it. The image of a loving mother holding her baby in her arms evokes in me the love of God, the love that God has for all of us, for humanity. In my daily job, I hear stories of mothers who were separated from their children because of a piece of paper. I also hear the pain of young people who were brought to this country when they were children, the only country that they've known and learned to love. By no fault of their own, their dreams are dashed, as they are denied the right to pursue higher education and the opportunity to give their talent to this nation. We are one race, the human race. We all have the right to access education, health, and most importantly, a life of dignity. Justice is about being in the right relationship with God and with each other. It is in the spirit of the Unity Awards that I ask of us to unite our minds, voices, and choices to continue to create a community that embraces our similarities and stands for those who live in isolation, in the shadows, and have no voice. I thank Biz 941 and La Guia for this honor. Let's not forget to thank the farm workers who work long hours under difficult conditions to bring the food that we all enjoy. May your lives and work be blessed. Thank you so much.
We are so proud for such wonderful people that we have today. Our next award goes to Hugo Nunez. Maybe few people know about Hugo Nunez or who Hugo Nunez is. But if I mention Mi Pueblo restaurant, I'm pretty sure many of you know about Mi Pueblo. So, and why he is receiving the award in the entrepreneurial category. So please listen, Hugo, who is going to tell us how he started his business, his wonderful and prosperous business.
Hi, my name is Hugo Nunez, and I would like to thank La Guia and Biz 941 for this opportunity, for the award of an entrepreneur. And I want to thank everybody that has been right there with me, helping me all these years, all these 20 years right here living in the United States, trying to live my American dream, trying to inspire other people to become successful. The message I would like to deliver to other people right there that just came to the United States is just work hard and follow your dream. Educate yourself, work hard. Nothing is given, in a silver plate. It's just you have to work for what you want to get in life. Life is not easy, but if you, focus on a goal, it will come true for you. Well, what can I say? This is a real honor. And being, around all these amazing people, it's just, congratulations to the other award winners. And thank you to La Guia, and thank you for Business 941. I'm sorry, I'm very humble on this. I'm not used to this. Thank you very much to Licenciado Barón. He's a role model to me. I've been learning a lot from him. He's an amazing person. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Our next award goes to Dr. Lisa Merritt in the category of medicine. And, in addition to running her own practice, I think Dr. Merritt's real passion is making sure that everyone has access to health care, in particular disadvantaged communities. So she started the Multicultural Health Institute to do just that and has probably touched at least 25,000 people in the community with this institute. Let's hear what she has to say.
It is a great honor to be recognized for this award by La Guia and Biz 941, which embodies my lifelong passion to foster greater understanding and connectedness among people. I love people, and I hope for them to learn the greatest joy is to love one another. By sharing resources and working together toward common goals that affect us all, I find great satisfaction in being able to touch and improve the lives of thousands in the community and beyond. Our healthcare system is in sore need of spiritual invigoration. My work through the Multicultural Health Institute is my effort to manifest the change we all wish to see in the world. We seek to reduce health disparities through health education and development of future health providers and fostering collaboration between existing organizations doing the same things. We've touched the lives of over 25,000 people in the last 6 years. Our areas of focus have included HIV/AIDS education, testing and prevention efforts, STEM career education, which is science, technology, education, and math. And we also throw in an A for the arts because I believe creativity is an essential thing for future leaders. We've also done nutrition and wellness programs and developed a cadre of community health care workers called the Gatekeepers of Community Health, because we believe it's important to assess and build capacity of the communities we serve. Okay. I'm so good at talking about stuff and teaching things, but they want me to talk about myself. It's like, for the first time I'm tongue-tied, I have to look at notes, sorry. Well, I mean, it's just so wonderful, as the other speakers have said, to see this incredible group of people here today. I mean, you are what we all want to see in the world, everybody being together. And, you know, it's like, it reminds me of the Jamaican saying, out of many, one people, because that's who we are, and we are the children of the future and of tomorrow. And I, too, want to give thanks to God, from whom all blessings flow. And I also want to give thanks to my ancestors, Europe, in my dreams, and give me their wisdom and, you know, their strength and their perseverance that comes through me and helps me to try to work to help other people. I just have to thank my family, my wonderful daughter, who's my personal photographer today. And they were the impetus for me moving down here to Florida, and I'm so grateful to them and to their ongoing support. My office manager, Rose, and dear friend, who also has donated a lot of time and space to the Multicultural Health Institute, and so many of our friends and family that are here today and that have supported and encouraged me through this transition here. I couldn't do what I'm doing without the help and support of so many organizations that we work with, and we have a table there of many of our coordinators and collaborators. Could you guys wave your hands there? Yeah, some of them couldn't make it today. They're out in the field working. So I just, you know, they're amazing because the success of what we do together really shows that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that I can do so much more through them and helping them than I can do seeing a patient at a time in my office. We can affect so many more people. And with the help of them, we have helped to be this change we want to see. And investing in them and investing in organizations like True Vine and Greater Hearst and Bethel and Bethlehem and all the other faith communities, working with Genesis Services, working with the Cancer Support Community Suncoast, working with the HIV/AIDS Network. We all share a common goal and vision, and we can work together and build capacity and help improve people's ability to educate and prevent disease, and then build capacity in the community. The Institute of Medicine, in its seminal report, Separate and Unequal, how many of you have ever heard of that report? Yes, not so many, right? This was from the government. It was an objective report that documented, without doubt, that there are separate levels of care given to people, given to African Americans, based on nothing other than race. When you qualify for socioeconomic status, insurance status, and all of that, the type of care that is given is inferior. So part of our goal is, if we're going to deal with the health disparities that occur and the increased rates of heart disease and cancer and diabetes and obesity in African American and Latino populations, we have to work to educate the people so that they can take control of their health destiny and that we can begin to change those outcomes and close this gap. I mean, for example, we have an astounding disparity right here in Sarasota in terms of the rate of HIV and AIDS. Many people don't know that Sarasota and Manatee are two of the top 20 counties in the state of Florida in HIV and AIDS. And many people don't know that HIV and AIDS are still the #1 cause of death for young people 15 to 34 in this country. And so we have to do our part to educate people and to begin to change that. Last year we focused on the distribution of our resource guide. And with this information about so many wonderful services, you know, there's so many great people here doing good things, but people don't know about it. People on the ground trying to figure out how to eat, try to get to the next, you know, to 2 different jobs on the bus and these kind of things. We're trying to get that out there with our work in the community. And right now we're working with Jimena, who's over there in the corner. Yay, Jimena. And we have a bilingual version that we're trying to enlarge and to get that printed and distributed so all of our activities in the community, we're able to disseminate this, and in all of our health fairs and things, we're finding people with high blood pressure, diabetes, things totally out of control. And then we're able to show them where they can go and where they can get help. And we can prevent people from having strokes and having heart attacks and getting feet chopped off and having advanced cancers. And in that way, that saves money. It also helps take the burden off of the emergency room. I mean, and I just have to take a moment and say Sarasota Memorial is a fantastic hospital. I've worked in public hospitals all over this country, and I've got to tell you, we are really fortunate here. We have a treasure, but they need our help. And they need the help of programs like this to take the burden off of the emergency room and the other services there for uncompensated care. Because the money's got to come from somewhere, so it's cheaper to prevent it, right? So I just want to say that I really love what I do. I mean, I love getting an award. It's very nice, but I mean, I love doing this. So, and I couldn't do it without all of these wonderful people, and that the power of one person working together is, with others is the power of many, and that perhaps Chief Seattle of the Suquamish Nation said it best. He said, "The earth does not belong to man. Man belongs to the earth. All things are connected like the blood that unites us all. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it, and whatever he does to the web, he does to himself." And como se dijo la señora Luz, juntos podemos realizar este cambio que queremos. ¿Sí? So the power of many joined together in unity towards a common goal of helping one another is unstoppable. So I just want to thank you all for this honor and wish you all the best. I forget my award.
Our last award goes to a very special person, a true leader, a great human being. Please join me and welcome the recipient of the award in the category of nonprofit, Padre Celestino Gutierrez. His clip is in Spanish. I'm going to summarize at the end, okay?
Aquí hay muchos profesionales, también ciudadanos, se han hecho ciudadanos americanos, se han casado dentro de la comunidad anglo y las familias están trabajando y esforzándose cada día para una vida mejor. Y esto me hace a mí sentir orgulloso de ellos. Yo les hablo con frecuencia acerca de que ellos deben ser agradecidos, como yo lo soy, por la ayuda que muchos americanos en esta comunidad les han dado. También los ciudadanos americanos entienden la vida difícil y dura de los inmigrantes y ellos tratan de ayudarles y que los emigrantes crezcan y vayan obteniendo una vida mejor. Se crea, por tanto, una relación de amistad que hace posible que ellos sean más seguros y más confortables viviendo en esta sociedad.
Okay. I'm going to try to do my best with the translation. Padre Celestino is very excited with this award, with this recognition. He's going to invite all of us for a big party this weekend and in order to try his paellas, his famous paella. No, just kidding. He said he was talking about the integration and how our community with professionals are getting married with Americans and how we are very pleased with this country and how we have to understand the immigrants in this country. Padre.
Don't worry, Luis Eduardo. I will invite you for a special party, and all of you, according to the collection after my words. I think I am the last one, no? Today I am grateful for this award, grateful for the friends and support around me, and of course, mostly grateful to God for His guidance in my life. I congratulate each of the winners here today. They inspire me as they work to improve our community with action and love and determination. I am blessed to have been an integral part of so many lives in this area that I have called home for 26 years. I have seen the change here, many changes. where people of different backgrounds find common ground, accept our dissimilarities, and rejoice for the diversity we are creating. The Hispanic community that surrounds me comes to me for advice. The teenagers who feel a gun life is better than staying in school. The mother, when there is no food for the baby and father is off in another state looking for work. They come to me for a prayer. When a parent has died, but the son cannot return for the funeral. They come to me for a recommendation to college for a son or daughter, even if there is no chance of entry because of the legal status of the student. They come to me for money to send the remains of a loved one to bury in the home of origin. Have I helped them all? No. But I tried, in this case, to give them hope, to build on their faith, and to assure them that I am here for every one of them. These are the immigrants from Mexico, Central and South America, the Caribbean islands. These are the people we see on lawn mowers, in restaurant kitchens, in nursing homes, cleaning hotel rooms, and on construction jobs, etc. They don't have the job, home, car, security that you and I have, but they dream of having it all, and they work. They work to make it happen. If not for them, for the next generation, for their children. They accept the fact that their children, their grandchildren, will not speak Spanish and may not find tacos the best food on earth. But they know this is the road to fulfilling the dream. To all the Americans here today, native born or through citizenship change, I ask that you be grateful like me for this country and to consider this. The immigrant of yesterday is the proud American of today. And the immigrant of today will enrich his adopted homeland just as millions of others had before him. And I finish with something very special. God called me today and said, let them know that I love all of them. Congratulations.
I just want to congratulate all our winners again. I think that, from our point of view, at Leguia and Biz 941, they have made incredible contributions to our community. I'd also like to thank our sponsors again, our presenting sponsor, Fifth Third Bank, as well as our award sponsors, the Community Foundation of Sarasota, ABC7, and the Zenith. Thank you again to Charles Clapsaddle for, as always, donating his time to worthy causes. And then I guess I would just like to thank all of you for attending. You've made this a really great event, and we're gratified that you're here. And just leave you with the words to keep building bridges.
Thank you, Susan, and muchas gracias a todos. Thank you so much for coming, and we have an appointment not this weekend with Padre Celestino. Next year with our awards, maybe in a bigger place because we doubled the size from that year. We want to have 700 and something next year. Thank you so much. Okay.